Shirley surveyed Caroline's Central Park and shook her head. The damage to the once beautiful and scenic park was significant. Concrete streets were torn to shreds, trees were uprooted or destroyed, and the famous fountain in the right center of the park, with a stunning statue of the princess herself, was just a heap of rubble. It was a shame. She really enjoyed going to the park as a whole. The most frustrating part was that she still had no idea where Trixie was. It was clear this was Trixie's work, fighting against the rogue ranger Nightlight. Apparently, she disappeared with a mysterious ranger in white armor, if the reports were correct. Shirley wasn't sure what to make of the White Ranger. Where did she come from? Was she one of the Night Court Rangers? Over here! Raindrops called, and Shirley turned towards her. She was pointing at something she couldn't identify from the distance. Shirley trotted over to where Raindrops was pointing and gasped. It was an old stallion, unconscious by the look at it. It looked haggard and exhausted. The point looked so bad it was shocking. We need to call an ambulance, Shirley cried out. Wait, Raindrops said, holding up a hoof. Shirley looked at the mare in puzzlement. The old pony needed help. Look at him again, Raindrops growled. It's Nightlight. Shirley looked at the old stallion again. I realized Raindrops was right. Somehow this was Nightlight. Despite being older, his face and cutie mark were the same. What the hey happened to him? Shirley asked, perplexed. A cost of his power, I'm afraid, a wrinkled voice said behind him. And Shirley turned and found Princess Luna. Princess! Shirley said in surprise. She wondered what she meant by the cost of his power. Is this what happened when one of the Night Court Rangers gets defeated? Could this happen to Greengrass? She really hoped that Trixie wouldn't jump to wild conclusions and attack Greengrass in some misguided attempt to save the day. Greetings, Miss Charity, and Raindrops. Luna inclined her head in respect. What are you doing here? Shirley asked. Luna gestured to the diamonds around her. Right, Shirley said, embarrassed. It's more diamonds than I would like to see, but I am glad Nightlight was finally subdued. Princess Luna said, observing the scene. She sighed. I doubt many will view it that way. Shirley winced. She knew Trixie wasn't popular at Camelot. This wasn't going to win her any new friends. There were also those weird rumors around the city about Trixie being a mass-murdering psychopath. Guys, he's waking up, Raindrops interrupted. Nightlight's eyes opened with a panic expression on his face. Not sure where he was. His eyes darted around as he set upon the princess and glared at her. The princess glared back at him with a cool expression. Shirley brightened. This would be a good time to gather information and learn what the hey had happened. Her voice had reminded her that she might be able to learn about any co-conspirators she might have. Trixie's paranoid rambles echoed in her head, accusing her Duke of being behind everything. Shirley shook her head. No, that was so silly. Though it was possible, Archduke Fisher might have some connection to Nightlight. Viceroy Nightlight, Shirley said in respect. Former Viceroy, Nightlight bit back. Shirley took a step back, now expending a little venom in his voice. Nightlight. Shirley again tried to stay respectful. What happened here? What do you think? Nightlight growled. Your idiot student finally got the best of me. He glared at Princess Luna. Is it true a White Ranger helped fight you? Shirley asked, trying to be patient. Truly, Miss Charity. Princess Luna perked up at this. Nightlight cackled at this. He coughed a few times, but continued with the unnerving laugh. Oh, yes. It was the only reason I lost. You really think that moron could ever defeat me? My daughter's become a mighty warrior. Shirley gaped. Not Twilight? Explain. I don't know myself, Nightlight said. I tried to sacrifice Trixie's soul so my daughter could have her powers. But somehow she branched out to develop her own powers. Not quite what I intended, but it worked out how I wanted in the end. What? Shirley could not believe he just said that. Did he just really admit to using dark magic in front of the princess? She could see raindrops growling under her breath. Likely the mare wanted to pounce on the formal noble right now. She pawed the ground in irritation. Shirley put a hoof on her shoulder to calm her. Why not admit everything now? Nightlight said, reading her thoughts. I'm doomed anyway. I'm proud of what I did. I gave Twilight the future she deserves. Still, Twilight a Ranger? That was incredible. Shirley smiled. She liked to have that feeling on her team. At least something's going their way. Fascinating. Princess Luna said, tapping her chin. The elements do work in mysterious ways. If that's the case, tell me, Shirley said. Who else helped in this plan to frame Trixie and ruin our lives? Shirley recoiled in horror aversion when Nightlight spit in her face. Do you expect me to do anything to help that buffoon? He snapped. I would rather die than let the hope to help her. Well, Shirley said, startled, like to spit off her face with a hoof. Raindrop stepped in front of her, protectively glared death at the former noble. So it's about ready to keep his face in, advanced age or not. Nutley raised his head haughtily. I'm not some weak old fool you can push around. So it would seem, Shirley grumbled. No doubt my daughter will see for herself what a worthless excuse of a pony your leader is, and... Nightlight's voice just stopped. His mouth moved, but no sound came out of it. That was enough out of you, Nightlight, Luna said, her horn glowing. You said more than enough. Shirley thanked the princess under her breath. Why did he ever think it was a good idea to talk to that guy? Nightlight glared at Princess Luna, but she ignored him. I will learn what I can from him. You two still have work to do. I have a feeling this night will not be an uneventful one. Knowing my students, you will not rest or leave a stone unturned until she finds her friend's killer. Shirley sighed. She knew all too well how relentless Trixie could be. She would probably end up destroying half of Camelot before this was over. She just hoped she would find Trixie this time before things started exploding. Worse, Shirley still also had no clue where Ditsy and Lyra were. Shirley thanked the princess and left the park with raindrops inside. She had a feeling this would be a long night. Trixie was thankful when she found Lyra snoring in a gutter, not far from where she last saw her after that big exchange of super attacks. She looked peaceful wrapped in a newspaper-like blanket. Trixie took her awake, and after a few moments, Lyra relented and got herself up. Bones, Lyra mumbled. I'm tired. Can't you give me 5 more minutes? Trixie could see that Lyra's mane had become disheveled, and had a few leaves and twigs and other junk tangled in it. Anne, is that you? No. I'm going to watch Amphibia next year. I just got a lot of Christmas stuff to go through. It took a few moments, but Lyra sorted her surroundings and was wide awake. Trixie, you're okay! What happened? Where's Nightlight? Trixie beamed. We did it. He's beaten. Lyra shot back wide-eyed. Really? All thanks to our newest member, Twilight. Twilight rubbed her neck in embarrassment. Well, kinda. Trixie did most of the fighting. Trixie spent the next few minutes explaining what happened. Lyra listened amazed. Despite how tired she looked, Lyra looked energized. Welcome to the team, Lyra said, giving Twilight an impromptu hug. It's nice to have you, Twilight. Twilight gave a small smile and was taken aback. She wasn't expecting such a warm welcome. Trixie wondered if Twilight was a little apprehensive because of what happened a few weeks ago. Corvus's rampage was still a heavy weight on Twilight's mind. Twilight seemed unsure as how the Rangers would accept a former enemy in their ranks. Trixie chuckled to herself. If the other Rangers could accept her of all ponies, they accept Twilight no problem. Okay, so what now? Lyra asked. Now we find out exactly what happened to Pokey when he visited here, Trixie proclaimed. How do we do that? Lyra wondered dead brain. Wait, wasn't Ditsy and that detective looking around for clues? Maybe they found something. Trixie thought about it and nodded. Good idea. You ask them if they found anything, and report back to us. She didn't want to show her face to any pony, especially a detective. Getting herself arrested on the spot didn't seem like a good idea. As they traveled through Canterlot, Trixie was sure to keep their shadows, avoid being seen as Lyra watched. Twilight used her teleportation to hide on the rooftops. Trixie took advantage of every dark spot she could find, moving like a ninja, with the skill and grace of a cat. It didn't take long to find Ditsy and Detective What's-His-Name. Ditsy waved as Lyra approached. There you are, Ditsy said as she approached. You won't believe the crazy day I've been having. What happened? Lyra asked, tilting her head. Trixie snorted derision, not believing it for a moment. All sorts of things happened, Ditsy opened her mouth to explain. Stopped when she looked in Trixie's direction. Hey, Trixie! I'm still worried about you. Glad to see you're okay. Trixie jumped in surprise and hit the top of the cart she was hiding under. She rubbed her head, climbed out. How did you find me? Trixie asked, puzzled. Ditsy laughed. Oh, that's easy, Trixie. Your colors don't exactly hide you well. Trixie looked down at her azure coat, pale maid and grumbled in annoyance. Whatever. I'll say this now. I'm not letting myself get arrested. And that is that, she declared. I didn't think you would, Detective said in a dry tone aside. I shall let you join the investigation. That way you won't disappear again and cause trouble. Tracy didn't like the comment, but she decided to let it slide. Fine. Alright, Ditzy. What happened? Did you know that Camelot has crystal mines under the sea? Ditzy asked. Tracy nodded. Sure. Why? That wasn't big of a secret. Princess Luna sometimes brought her down there to train. Well, evil 63 bug ponies were using them to sneak into the city, Ditzy declared. What? It turns out they were kidnapping ponies to replace them with imposters so they could take over the city and eventually all of Equestria, Ditzy explained. The detective nodded. Damn thing's been stinking under our noses for months. We placed almost 50 ponies before we caught them. We found the ponies he kidnapped in those crazy cocoon things. What? And I had an epic fight with their queen, Ditzy continued. He was pretty tough. I almost did it, but Sleuth's creative innovation on skateboards so I can't say today. Sleuth laughed. I can't let you herotize you all the work. What? Oh, he does. He ran off and swore fence would be here, so watch out for that. Ditzy laughed. But hey, what else is new, right? Unfortunately, because of that, we weren't able to do much investigating. Ha! Ha! Okay, Tracy said, baffled. All that happened could have been only an hour or so. You must be a slow walker. Oh, but we did discover something, Ditzy said. Both Tracy and Lara perked up at this. Pokey was definitely seen in the city about an hour before he was killed, Ditzy explained. Nowhere near enough time for him to get on a train and travel to Ponyville. And, Tracy said, eager for more. That's about it, Ditzy finished. What? Well, it's not like we had much time to investigate, as I said, Ditzy said, a bit defensive. You're forgetting something, I think, the detective shot out. Oh, right, Ditzy brightened. A strange light shone into the sky about the time Pokey was murdered. What do you mean? Lara asked, puzzled. We don't really much know more than that, Ditzy said, but we do know it was a distinctive gold color. Tracy lightened up in understanding. That's the color of Pokey's magic, she said, excited. Ditzy nodded. We're still not exactly sure where it came from, though. Tracy's mind raced. My dear assistant shot magic into the air before he died. Single for help, maybe? They could pinpoint where the beam came from. Finding where Pokey was murdered would be a snap. I've got an idea, Twilight said, teleporting and startling Tracy, and almost giving her a heart attack. Sorry, that whole changeling thing smells like a plot point. Oh, hi, Twilight, Ditzy said, nonplussed by Twilight's unexpected arrival. I see, Lara said, enthusiastic. You have some amazing spells that could detect where some point died? No, Twilight said, shaking her head. So snored. If a spell like that existed, does she think the Force will use it all the time? Oh, I guess that makes sense, Lara said, dejected. My idea was to use this! Twilight pulled out a spray bottle out of her saddlebags. C887N302! Lumino! What now? Lara said, Alex confused. Ditzy lit up in understanding. I see, that's a great idea! I like your thinking, Tracy said. The luminol would find any traces of blood, and it was dark enough that those traces would glow in the dark. Look, they might find the place Pokey was stabbed. But do you have enough? Oh, of course, Twilight said, nodding. I have plenty of it in my lab. A little unorthodox, but it is a good plan. Guys, Lara butted in. What is Z9T whatever? Does anybody have a map of the sea? Twilight asked. Here. Sleuth pulled out a scroll out of his pocket of his coat and rolled it open to the street. It had a detailed map of all the streets in Camelot. Let's see. That beam showed up right around here. Ditzy pointed to a map of the streets. Wasn't able to get exact location, but it's jumping around here. That's not so bad. Tracy tapped her chin with a huff. We should each take a street, an alleyway, and see what we can find. Remember, spray everywhere. Even if the killer cleaned up, I doubt it was a perfect job with so many ponies around. You might be able to find some blood on a trash can or something like that. Ditzy, Sleuth, and Twilight down in agreement. Guys, really, what are you talking about? Lara complained. No pony took much attention to her, too excited to find his new lead. Tracy assigned every pony a wide street to investigate. With the five of them, it seemed to Trixie that it wouldn't take long to investigate. With few teleports, Twilight got enough luminol for every pony. They soon got it all on their separate ways. Guys, what does this chemical do? Ira yelped as every pony left. No pony seemed to hear her. She threw up her legs in frustration. Fine, figure it out on my own. Trixie hummed to herself as she sprayed the walls and streets herself around. It was a jaunty little tune she heard over a few months that was getting popular amongst the younger ponies. She couldn't remember the name of the song, but the artist was one that even she had heard of. Countess Coloratura was the bomb, and Trixie mimicked her dance moves as a way to keep herself entertained. Spraying everywhere was a more tedious task than Trixie expected, and any distraction from the soul-crushing monotony was welcome. Still, she had to check every nook and cranny, regardless of how tedious it was. The killer had to make a mistake somewhere, and Trixie was determined to find it. She just wished it was involved less tedium. Gah! The pony cried out. Trixie looked up to see who it was. In distraction, Trixie had accidentally sprayed a pony in the face. I'm so sorry! Trixie apologized to turn scarlet. But I never! The victim was an olive-covered mare with a purple mane. She stuck her nose up at Trixie and trotted away in a huff. The stallion was with her and did the same. Candlelight ponies. Trixie rolled her eyes and continued her work. Trixie growled in frustration as she found another alley clean. Her instinct told her she was on the right track, so why was it so hard to find it? 5 streets and still nothing. She prayed to her friends that better luck to her. 2 more streets went by, so far, no reaction from the chemical. She turned to move on to the next street when something caught her eye. It was a manhole whose lid wasn't put on back properly. I wonder. Trixie sprayed around the manhole and recoiled in shock. Amazed she found a trail of blue light. This meant the luminol was reacting to the blood. She didn't hesitate to spray into the trail, and sure enough, there was more of a reaction. Cece found a large trail of blood that had been cleaned up. The trail led her to an alleyway, and eventually to a large glowing pool. This must be where Pokey was stabbed. Must be. There was also blood on the walls nearby. Was Pokey thrown against it when he was attacked? After some intense spraying, she found some bloody hoof prints as well. Must be when Pokey was kicked in the knife wound. She recalled a disgusting horror at the thought. So much blood. Poor Pokey. No Pokey deserved this happening to them. So, it seems that after Pokey was attacked, he was dragged to a nearby manhole so his body could be disposed of somewhere else. Trixie pondered. She tried back to the manhole, and with some effort lifted it off. The smell was as horrible as she imagined it to be. She knew that exploring the sewers would be inevitable. The glamour of a hero's life. A great poo gas! Trixie turned to leave when she felt a sharp blow in the back of her head. She collapsed to the ground in pain. There was wetness on her head, and Trixie had trouble finding consciousness. She looked up and found exactly where she thought she would. Nuttery! Trixie ground out. The killer always returns to the scene of the crime. I knew it was you all along! Getting knocked out by the killer. Must be getting closer to the case. Nuttery stared down at her with what in most of his face, like attacking and killing a pony, was not different to her than taking out the trash. Much like Trixie's surprise, another pony was with her. Final scratch stood next to Nuttery with an apprehensive look on her face. Trixie screamed as Nuttery kicked her in the head again, and the whole world went black. Now, I just realized, if Trixie dies, I might not have a career. After all, she's my boss!